The room was extremely quiet as Huang Yueli silently leaned against the side of the bathtub with her eyes tightly shut. Her entire body was devoted to cultivation as she could not sense the situation in the outside world. So she didn't know that in the corner of the room, unknowing when Li Moying's figure appeared once again. He didn't let out any sound, only concentrating his gaze on the stunning young lady lying in the bathtub. He had once again entered the room not because he harbored any evil intentions. Actually, after he was chased away by Huang Yueli earlier, he didn't want to affect her cultivation, hence he silently stood guard outside the door. However, when Huang Yueli jumped into the bathtub, she suddenly gave off some irrepressible moans which made him so uptight that he almost charged right in. After entering the room, Li Moying started to cool down slightly. Soaking in a medicinal bath which was filled with fire-attributed high-grade medicinal herbs, it would be a wonder if it didn't hurt like hell, and this was part of the process which Huang Yueli had to go through for advancement. He understood the logic very well, but upon seeing Huang Yueli being in such a painful state, his heart was twitching as he basically used up all his self-control before he managed to stop himself from dragging her out. Luckily, about 1 hour ago, Huang Yueli started to relax and no longer moaned as her forehead also started to loosen. This short hour to Li Moying seemed as though an entire year had gone past. Li Moying heaved a sigh of relief, but he didn't nudge at all, unwilling to let Huang Yueli leave his sight. Even though he knew that Huang Yueli was filled with experience for matters related to advancement and that prescription of the medicinal bath from God Realm was extremely safe, but he still felt uneasy if he didn't witness it with his own eyes. Several hours went by and the sky started to darken. Night fell and gradually turned bright. It was until the second day's wee hours in the morning when Huang Yueli suddenly gave out a low moan. Wu, Li Moying's forehead creased as he shot upwards to her, his pitch-black eyes filled with worry. "Lear, are you all right?" The minute he got closer, he realized that other than her face turning slightly red, there wasn't anything odd with Huang Yueli, so he could finally set his heart slightly at ease. By this time, Huang Yueli actually didn't feel any pain. Following the absorption of the fire-attributed energy in the medicinal bath being taken in by her, the profound energy in her body grew abundant and more powerful as the speed of the profound energy going round her meridians getting faster and faster, to the point of starting to gush towards her dantian. Huang Yueli quickly realized that this was the premonition of advancement. The profound energy in her body was already so abundant to a dangerous point, and as long as she followed the flow and worked a little harder, there was a huge possibility that she could successfully advance to the 5th stage realm. Entering the 5th stage realm, her potential would once again be upgraded and there would be another chance to have a complete change in her body structure. Following the increase of cultivation, the difficulty of breaking through a huge realm gets harder and harder, and 99% of practitioners weren't able to enter the door of the 5th stage realm. But to Huang Yueli, the 5th stage realm was just right before her eyes. She just needed to stretch out her hands to reach it. Everything had been so smooth as the temptation was so strong, but Huang Yueli frowned and found back her rationality, curbing the temptation to immediately advance. She knew that her foundation wasn't stable enough, so this time it wasn't a good time for her to advance. When she broke through to the 4th stage realm, it was just too fast. And now it's just been a month's time and she's about to advance into the 5th stage realm, then her foundation would become more and more unstable. You can also listen on. It was a huge taboo in terms of non-stability in a practitioner's cultivation. If one couldn't stabilize his cultivation properly and merely just pursued the speed of advancing, then his actual ability as compared to same-stage practitioners would be heavens apart. This way, no matter how high his cultivation was, it was merely an illusion as he didn't have the compatible ability to go with. Huang Yueli knew this point deeply, so she held her breath as she congealed her senses, gathering all the power that she had, not to advance but to curb herself from the urge to advance. If any outsider were to see this, they would absolutely be shocked beyond words. Because to ordinary practitioners, it was their dream to be able to advance, as too many of them had tried all the ways they had, but they still weren't able to step over to the 5th stage realm for their entire lives. Whereas for Huang Yueli, she actually easily advanced, and so swiftly. But as ironically, she didn't want to advance at all. But wanting to advance was difficult, not wanting to advance wasn't an easy task to achieve as well. Huang Yueli tried her best to control the surging profound energy within her body and risked her risk to suppress the energy in her dantian, thinking to control it during the critical state of advancement. But the profound energy in her body was overflowing with abundance and wasn't something which she could control with her own energy. Even though she had already exhausted all her energy, but the speed of the flow of the profound energy slightly decreased for a moment, but immediately after that, it started to strike her dantian again. Once and again, the energy continued to grow stronger. Huang Yueli's little face had already flushed red as sweat started to drip down profusely. The scorching pain in her chest seemed as though it was going to explode immediately. But all these were in vain. At the present moment, the profound energy in her body had already been led into a continuously accumulating cycle and wasn't at a state where she could stop any time she wanted to. She was almost certain that she would be able to advance successfully this time round. Huang Yueli clenched her teeth tightly as she stubbornly refused to give up. Just as her determination had reached the point of collapsing, she suddenly sensed a chilling sensation from her back. A burst of strong and pure profound energy started emitting into her from her back area as it slowly entered her meridians. Originally, different practitioners' profound energy were incompatible with one another, and when other practitioners' profound energy flows into their body, it would meet with the body's basic instinct to resist. But Huang Yueli only felt slightly uncomfortable while this burst of profound energy initially entered her body. Following that, she seemed to feel a familiar and assured feeling as the external profound energy slowly seeped into her body. Not only did it make her felt uncomfortable, instead it made her scorching hot body slowly loosened up. "Lear, follow the direction that I'm leading to move your profound energy." A deep mellow male's voice rang by the side of her ear. Right then, Huang Yueli's attention was placed totally on her own profound energy and meridians, so her brain practically had no spare space to think about who the man behind her was. She only felt instinctively that the voice of the owner made her extremely assured, so she immediately followed his instructions. Li Moying sensed her submission and immediately laughed softly, so obedient. "Now listen to my instruction, slowly loosen up, don't be overly anxious, don't be afraid, just listen to me." Powerful profound energy continued to surge inwards, but it didn't make Huang Yueli feel invaded or offended. Her profound energy and Li Moying's mixed together as it was led by him, slowly recovering to a peaceful state. "You can also listen on." It was after a very long time before Huang Yueli sensed that the urge to advance had completely disappeared. Besides that, under the use of the medicinal bath, the profound energy in her body solidified and became purer as there was an obvious increase in her own ability. She finally heaved a long sigh as her long lashes fluttered slightly, slowly opening her eyes. However, the minute she opened her eyes, the scene she saw gave her a huge shock. Huang Yueli's eyes grew wide as she cried out sharply, how come you're here? You're so shameless, ah." In front of her eyes was an extremely seductive picture of a handsome male coming out from the bath. Li Moying showed off his robust chest as he leaned against the bathtub. He was just sitting right behind her as water droplets dripped down from his collarbone, and dripping along his fair skin, across his chest and against that perfectly sculpted abdominal muscles. Lastly, Huang Yueli's gaze followed all the way down only to realize that Li Moying's lower part of his body was soaked in the water and she couldn't see anything beyond that. Just as she was in a daze, Li Moying suddenly laughed. "Lear, what are you looking at? The expression on your face looks so horny, and so disappointed. Do you want me to stand up so that you can take a close look?" Huang Yueli's face instantly flushed red as though she was about to run a fever. You. I don't want to see it. Usually sharp-tongued, she suddenly realized that she wasn't able to say a word now. Li Moying intentionally leaned close towards her as he intentionally suppressed his tone, while his voice bore an obvious seductiveness. What's the matter? Really don't want to take a look? I guarantee you will like what you see. Saying that, his body started to move upwards, as though he was about to stand up. Huang Yueli grew anxious as she grabbed his arm. You are not allowed to stand up. Li Moying's vision followed downwards from her slender hand. Huang Yueli too subconsciously lowered her head and went into a pause as she suddenly realized that while soaking herself in the bathtub, she had stripped off completely. Furthermore, the bathtub's water was originally full, but after she had absorbed about 90% of the energy, the amount of water greatly decreased, and now, the water in the tub was only enough to cover the position of her lower abdominal. Which meant to say, anything above her was totally exposed. She had been seen cleanly by this shameless man. No wonder the gaze he gave her earlier was so ambiguous and had even shamelessly bit her back, saying about her expression. Where on earth had this scummy pervert popped out from? Huang Yueli was extremely vexed as she quickly withdrew her hand and covered her chest. Hearing the man giving off soft laughter once again, Huang Yueli was so angry that her face turned green as she stared at him in anger. How on earth did you come in? When I was soaking the medicinal bath, I had obviously made you leave. You actually ran in by yourself again. You actually peep on young ladies bathing. Do you even have a baseline of a human? Li Moying instantly got disappointed when he saw the spring scenery being covered up. Huang Yueli saw his regretful look and almost jumped up in anger. Luckily she recalled that she wasn't wearing anything on her lower half of her body, so she tolerated the urge to do so. Li Moying admired her kinky, angry, and embarrassed expression as he aside her in a lazy manner. Leah, you cannot not see a good person's heart. You actually framed me in this way. You're my fiancé, so looking at you is open and upright. Haven't you heard of the lover's bath? You can also listen on. Huang Yueli's head almost started to smoke. What are you saying? Lover's bath. Li Moying helped his fiancé, who was suddenly stuttering, completed her sentence out of goodwill. Lover's bath, your head. Huang Yueli completely turned her embarrassment into anger. You, quickly get out. She pushed Li Moying's chest in frustration as she tugged and dragged him, trying to whisk him out, but the man's body was strong and well-built and his cultivation was far above hers, so she couldn't move him at all. Overwhelmed with shame and rage, her right rose up as a burst of scorching fire glint congealed in her palm. Li Moying was shocked as well. Although his cultivation was very high and there wasn't anything which Huang Yueli could really do to him, but she still had a genuine deviant flame in her hands, and that was enough to cause a certain amount of damage to him. At such a close distance, he could neither hide nor strike back, so if he was badly bruised by this young lass and his subordinates saw it, then he would really not be able to lift his head up high in the household anymore. He hurriedly pulled onto Huang Yueli's slender wrist as he hastily explained, Lear, don't be agitated, you've really misunderstood. When you made me go out earlier, I really went out and had been standing guard outside the door. But you kept moaning in the middle of the night from your room and I was worried if you'd run into an accident in the middle of your cultivation, so I ran in. Huang Yueli was stunned as the flame in her hands instantly extinguished. She suddenly recalled that when she almost advanced, her entire body felt terrible, and just when she thought that she was unable to control herself, in the end. She swiftly raised her head and looked at Li Moying. Li Moying gave an innocent and pitiful expression. So do you understand it now? When I entered the room, you looked as though you were about to advance, but you don't seem to be able to control it properly, so I had to give you a hand. But your cultivation method is just too overbearing, so much that even for me, it wasn't easy to suppress your profound energy. In order to help you in a better way, I had no choice but to jump into the bathtub, you know it best, while passing on the energy. The fastest way would be through skin-to-skin contact. In the end, whoever knew that while you were working up your energy, you were not clear-minded and sensing that my profound energy could lower the fire in you, you kept closing into me and even touched me everything. I'm already so pitiful and yet still being maligned by you in this way. He said it in an extremely aggrieved way as though he was an upright young man, and it was all due to the circumstances which led to him being molested by a masher. Heaven knew that when Huang Yueli closed into him, how excited he was, and on the first timing, he wanted to lie flat to allow her to tease him. Huang Yueli felt that this conversation didn't sound right as she shot him a suspicious glance. Li Moying pointed to his own shoulder. Did you see this? This set of teeth marks was left by you yesterday night. Huang Yueli's gaze moved and she indeed saw 2 rows of neat teeth marks on Li Moying's well-built shoulders, and in fact it was bleeding. With evidence in front of her, she could only admit to her crime. All right, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have maligned you. Yesterday, thank you for helping me. If it hadn't been for you, I'd definitely have to advance. Li Moying gave a cold harumph, intentionally giving her a cold look, even looking a little angry. Huang Yueli blinked. Are you serious? You're really angry? Li Moying gave her a glance and didn't say a word. You can also listen on. Li Moying naturally wouldn't put on airs over such a small matter with his little fox, but this was a good chance to abduct this young lass, so if he didn't grab it properly, then he would change his surname from Li to others. Thinking of this, his face became even more arrogantly pampered. Would I even dare to be angry at you? Anyway, I am a man who harbors ill intentions, so whatever I do is to take advantage of you. I don't mean it in that way. Huang Yueli couldn't tell the jocosity in his eyes, and upon hearing him say that, she immediately started to get anxious. She had already forgotten the fact that she had nothing on and pounced over to him, hugging his waist and raising her head to look at him from below with twinkling in her watery big eyes, attempting to act cute to get past this. I absolutely don't mean this. In my heart, Li Moying is the best man. She was just short of lifting her fingers, vowing to heavens to prove her loyalty. Li Moying lowered his head and looked at her in the eye. Hearing her say such romantic words, actually Li Moying wanted to say that he had already forgiven her, but Huang Yueli met a pair of star-studded jet black eyes when she suddenly felt something was amiss. After a moment later, she realized that her lower body seemed to be pressing against a rock-hard thing. This, surely it wasn't the thing she was thinking about, right? This beast was actually turned on. Huang Yueli's expression changed instantly as she simultaneously realized that this man harbored ill intentions, purposely tricking her. She unleashed her fury as she gave Li Moying an angry stare, her expression starting to turn sinister. Li Moying had realized that he had gone overboard and the sweat on his forehead started to drip down. But he felt as though he was treated unjustly. Things had developed to this stage wasn't entirely his fault. It was Lear who had pounced over by herself and kept rubbing him up so as a normal man. How was it possible that he had no reaction at all? However, at this juncture, his little fox was already seething with anger, so whatever he explained was of no use. Li Moying, you scum whose brain is filled with rubbish, scram right now. In the silent dawn, Celestial Light Sect's young sect master's mansion suddenly rang a young lady's crisp and angry howl. A few shadow guards had already stood guard near their master's bedroom for an entire night and were about to fall asleep. In order not to disturb their master and future mistress from being intimate, they had intentionally hid themselves far, far away, just in case they heard something which they shouldn't hear. Now, when this ear-deafening howl rang, it instantly woke everyone up in shock, as they gazed shockingly towards the door of the master bedroom. Immediately following that, they saw a scene which they would never forget in their entire lives. A loud bam resounded as the master bedroom's door was kicked open and their mighty, awe-inspiring master was chased out of the bedroom. Not only that, he had nothing on him, not even a pair of pants, as he was walking around with his bird in the wee hours of the morning, which was simply an eyesore. All the shadow guards flashed a thought across their minds: Master had been kicked down from third Miss Bed. However, although they thought about it secretly, no one dared to say it out. They didn't even dare to raise their lips a little, afraid that Li Moying would vent his anger on them. One needed to know that this master of theirs was naturally overbearing, and although he didn't have any face or skin in front of third Miss, but that was only limited to third Miss alone. Anyone else who dared to challenge his authority would die an extremely horrible death. You can also listen on. Actually, it wasn't just the shadow guards who were feeling embarrassed. Li Moying himself was feeling the most embarrassed. He had not succeeded in hoaxing his fiancée into throwing herself at him, he had actually been thrown out by her. Such an embarrassing matter actually fell on him. If it was 1 year ago, he absolutely would not believe this, but now, he felt that this was probably just the beginning. When Li Moying was outside the door, he started to cool down as his icy cold glance shot past that row of shadow guards who hung their heads low. Very good, none of them dared to laugh. This made Li Moying slightly gain some face back. His frigid cold voice called out as though nothing was wrong: Mo Air. Your subordinate is here. Mo Air was already rolling around the ground laughing in his heart, but his face still showed a respectful expression as he lowered his brows and eyes while responding to him. Go get me a set of clothes. He hadn't finished his words when another pong sound was heard and the bedroom door opened once again. This time, a set of dark gold long robe was thrown out of the door, which was exactly what Li Moying wore the night before. The edge of Li Moying's brows twitched as he picked up his clothes and swiftly got dressed. Without even buttoning it properly, he turned around to knock the door. Lear, open the door. I guarantee that I won't, do that thing, so will you please don't be angry. Huang Yueli replied to him icily, I want to grab time to cultivate, so don't you come and disturb me. How could this be called disturb? Lear, open the door. He pushed the door hard, but the door refused to budge. Li Moying deeply felt that having an armament master who specialized in mechanisms as a fiancé was really a tough matter. He called out for her a few more times, but Huang Yueli totally ignored him. He thought about it for a moment and knew that Huang Yueli was still angry and didn't want to bother about him. At the same time, she had just completed her medicinal bath and was really in need of cultivation. So he didn't force her anymore, as he could only hang his head low as he left despondently. Huang Yueli spent a total of 3 days in this time's closed-door cultivation, and Li Moying wandered around for 3 days, being an abandoned grudged man for 3 days. It was until the morning of the arena tournament when Huang Yueli suddenly opened the door, officially coming out of her closed-door cultivation. The minute Huang Yueli stepped out of the door, she saw Li Moying standing in front of the room, and his hand had already raised to his chest level. From the looks of it, he was prepared to knock on the door but was still hesitating to do so. Seeing Huang Yueli coming out on her own, he heaved a sigh of relief. Leah, you're finally out. I thought you're so angry that you don't even want to take part in the arena tournament anymore. Huang Yueli gave a cold humph. I'm the one who wanted to take part in the arena tournament, and it had nothing to do with you. Why should I not take part in it because of you? Li Moying was shot back by her saying as he couldn't say a single word. Because he realized that his little fox was extremely vengeful, and until now, she still wasn't appeased yet. He could only continue to coax her patiently. I really am just cracking a joke with you. If you're not happy, then I won't do this to tease you ever again. Please stop being angry. Huang Yueli raised her chin. We'll see your future performance then. Saying that, she raised her foot to step out of the door. Li Moying hurriedly chased up to her as he held her hand. No matter how Huang Yueli tried, she couldn't shake him off, so eventually he just allowed her to hold on to her hand. Li Moying held her on tightly, worried that his Lear would run off, so he tried all ways and means to coax her to make her happy. He hadn't realized that just as Huang Yueli turned her head, a non-existent smile was already showing on her lips. You can also listen on. Who asked this man to pretend to be angry, cheating her to throw herself into his arms? Then she could also pretend to be angry, cheating him to be meek and subservient. The two of them walked hand in hand as they headed towards the public square where the arena tournament was held. When this couple appeared, it attracted various envious and jealous glared. There were too many young ladies who liked Li Moying, whereas after that day's banquet, there were also plenty of young men who secretly admired Huang Yueli. Everyone's eyes fell onto their tightly clasped hands. There was no denial that when Li Moying and Huang Yueli walked together, they were simply too compatible. No matter if it was in terms of looks, temperament or innate talent, they seemed to be a pair made in heaven, making everyone jealous, but there was no choice but to admit that they themselves weren't worthy of this pair. But those inferiority thoughts were only from those ordinary people. To self-professed geniuses like Murong Fei or Leng Fengyi, other than an eye-piercing scene, it was just too eye-piercing. They couldn't wait to replace the other party immediately. As young sect master, Li Moying's seat was at the stage, at a striking position. Furthermore, as he wasn't required to take part today, it added a detached feel. This time, someone had already arranged another joint seat next to his, apparently for Huang Yueli. Li Moying raised his head and saw this arrangement as he silently nodded his head, his mood improving by quite a lot. This meant that he and Lear had already been recognized by the masses, an official couple. He held Huang Yueli's hand as they walked through the arena tournament's competition grounds, walking up the stage. Along the way, both of them walked past Murong Fei. At this moment, Murong Fei was surrounded by a large crowd of direct disciples as everyone wasted no effort in fawning on her. "Eldest young miss, your conditions look great today. Isn't that so?" Eldest young miss's surrounding profound energy is abundant. Apparently your ability has reached another notch higher again. Murong Fei displayed an unconcealable complacent look as she intentionally said reservedly, "For the sect's glory, to gain the quota for everyone to enter the mystic region, I have been cultivating hard for the past few days until I've forgotten to eat or sleep. Finally I had successfully advanced last night, from 6th stage realm 1st level into 6th stage realm 2nd level. Wow! 6th stage realm 2nd level. Eldest young miss hasn't even reached 18 years old and already at 6th stage realm 2nd level. Wasn't it said that after the 6th stage realm, it was extremely difficult to advance for each small realm? Really didn't expect eldest young miss to improve yet again in such a short time. This is really great. Eldest young miss is so talented, able to upgrade so quickly. No matter how many abilities Green Cloud Sect's people have, how could they be compared with you? Today they'd definitely be beaten pants down." That's right, today's arena tournament's judges comes from South Sky region's various large sects elders or top exponents. After today, eldest young miss's name will have spread throughout the entire South Sky region. Murong Fei pretended to stop them from talking. "Stop spouting nonsense. Green Cloud Sect is an established large sect and their abilities cannot be underestimated. I don't dare to say that I will definitely win in today's arena tournament." Although she said that, but whoever saw the smile on her face would tell that she was full of confidence, feeling that this time's arena champion was already in her bag. Just as Murong Fei was riding high, she suddenly saw Li Moying walking over. The moment she saw Li Moying, her senses jolted as she intentionally overlooked Huang Yueli who was beside him. She had been arranging her head in anticipation as she puffed out her chest and walked right towards him. You can also listen on. Eldest senior brother, She greeted him proactively, but Li Moying didn't even bother to glance at her from the side of his eyes, totally treating her like air as he directly walked around her. Murong Fei stood on the spot awkwardly, so embarrassed that she was put on the spot. How could this be possible? Murong Fei's eyes grew wide as she simply could not believe that such a thing happened. From what she thought, today was the important day where she fought for glory for the sect. So even if Li Moying usually didn't want to see her, under today's occasion, he would definitely give her some face and to encourage her. After all, if she didn't show her potential to the fullest, the entire Celestial Light sect would be affected. However, Li Moying persisted in his old ways, without any concern for this at all. Murong Fei's gaze shot towards the young lady who was standing beside Li Moying, as her eyes totally sunk into gloominess. Eldest senior brother wasn't someone who didn't know how to act properly. In the past, when he hadn't met Huang Yueli, he would at least give her some face. For occasions like this, he would act out the part of a senior brother and never been so cold to this stage. So all of these were probably instigated by that little slut beside him. It was because of her who used her foxy ways to seduce eldest senior brother, and even blowing pillow wind in front of eldest senior brother for this to have happened. The more Murong Fei thought, the angrier she thought as her hands clenched into fists. Murong De was on the far end of the stage and had been noticing the situation here. On seeing her expression changing, he hurriedly called out, "Fei, the competition's right about to start. Quickly return to your own seat and stop blocking the way." Murong Fei then regained her senses as she sat back to her seat, but she was still feeling infuriated in her heart. Which of the surrounding direct disciples didn't know what the situation was? Originally they should have followed suit to condemn Murong Fei's love rival, to give her encouragement, but they had all seen how much Li Moying pampered his fiancée in the past few days. So no one dared to say a single bad thing about Huang Yueli, just in case it falls into Li Moying's ears, they would die without a burial ground. The atmosphere instantly turned stiff. It was after some time later when someone spoke out, "Third junior sister, what are you doing? The competition hasn't even started, and if your emotions are affected by some unrelated person, what will you do if you act out of your normal self at the arena tournament?" Murong Fei turned her head back and saw Li Lingchuan as she spoke back in an upset manner, "Second senior brother, you've seen it for yourself. Eldest senior brother actually didn't give me any face for that little slut. If he doesn't even care about the result of the arena tournament, then why should I bother?" Even Li Lingchuan had been injured by Li Moying at the banquet, although he had taken several high-grade medicinal pills, but his recovery still took a lot of time. Until now, he had to rely on the clutch as he limped along the way, not to mention crossing hands with someone at the tournament. Even so, he held out in spite of difficulties to the scene, not to see Murong Fei's embarrassing look. He hurriedly spoke out, "Third junior sister, how could you think in this way? Think about it, why does eldest senior brother like that wretched lass so much? Wasn't it because she was the genius armament master whom president who values so much? But you are not any worse off than her. Your cultivational talent is especially strong. An 8th grade innate talented female practitioner, there aren't many in the entire Soaring Heavens continent. So what if I'm a genius?" Eldest senior brother only had that little slut in his eyes and totally couldn't see my innate talent and potential. Murong Fei gritted her teeth as she said that. "You can also listen on." Li Lingchuan said, "That's why you must grab the opportunity today. This is a chance which heavens had given to you. As long as you're able to display your outstanding ability at the arena tournament stage today, sweeping away all the other opponents, it would definitely make eldest senior brother see you in new light. Think about that wretched lass is an armament master, so in terms of cultivation she definitely doesn't have that much innate talent than you, so how much common topics would they have together? By then, eldest senior brother would surely feel that you and him are more compatible." Murong Fei's eyes started to light up upon hearing his explanation. Second senior brother, you treat me the best. What you say is correct, I must perform properly today, and when eldest senior brother regrets it and comes together with him, I will viciously humiliate that little slut. Li Lingchuan hurriedly added, you're not right in doing that. When eldest senior brother regrets it and you get together with him, if you let him get you so easily, how would he know how to cherish you? So even if eldest senior brother sees you in a new light, you cannot agree to him readily. Murong Fei was stunned, not expecting him to say that at all. But upon careful thought, she felt that it really seemed reasonable. She questioned puzzledly, then what should I do? What should I do to make eldest senior brother value me? Li Lingchuan saw her look, which earnestly begged him for his teaching, and knew that she was already hooked as he couldn't help but reveal a deep smile. Actually, it's all very simple. After eldest senior brother regrets it, the more you cannot agree with him. Moreover, you must get together with someone else, in this way it would make him have a rude awakening. This will then make him come chase after you. When Murong Fei heard that, she frowned. How would that do? I take no interest in the other man, so even if it was just a pretense to get together with them, I also can't take it. Just looking at their pug look makes me disgusted that I want to throw up. Li Lingchuan heard that and laughed coldly in his heart. This eldest young miss had really been spoiled rotten, totally not knowing anything about social snobbery. Other people admired her, but she treated them as dogs, insisting on sticking onto the cold Li Moying. No wonder she was hurt all over. Today's outcome was something that she asked for, so she couldn't blame him for scheming on her. Li Lingchuan replied, this you don't need to worry, I can help you. When eldest senior brother regrets it, just tell him that you're with me and I will coordinate with you to make him have a rude awakening. Surely you don't feel that your second senior brother is repulsive, right? Murong Fei went blank for a moment, totally not sensing that Li Lingchuan was up to no good. She gave a joyous look, second senior brother, you're willing to help me. You're the best. I'll all depend on you then. Li Lingchuan nodded, hurry back to prepare for the competition, you cannot lose to anyone at the arena tournament. How could that be possible? Without eldest senior brother and that Ling Yifeng, an 8th grade talent like me is hard to come by, so I don't believe that Green Cloud's sect can find someone who can match up to me. Murong Fei's self-confidence was already boosting, thinking that later on she could make eldest senior brother regret it. Falling below her feet made her extremely excited. She didn't know that Li Lingchuan's lips had already revealed a chilly smile. This ignorant woman really thought that Li Moying was that kind of capricious scum male. That kind of overbearing man, to be frank, totally didn't care what innate talent his woman had. If he liked her, that meant that he liked her. But he was thankful for Murong Fei's ignorance, giving him the chance to cheat the sect master's daughter into his hands so easily. You can also listen on. Huang Yueli and Li Moying didn't notice the scenario that was happening behind them. They walked all the way to the stage and sat down on their seats next to each other. But as Huang Yueli was still in a cold war with him single-mindedly, she intentionally nudged towards the side. Totally not like the other time at the banquet, sticking to Li Moying's side like a docile pet. Li Moying glanced sideways at her as he helplessly shook his head. This lass was really pampered and arrogant. Wasn't it just seeing her in the buff? Sooner or later he would see, still it so was there a difference if he saw it earlier or later. Moreover speaking, after he had seen it, he had already suffered the worst punishment. Not only did Huang Yueli ignore him, furthermore when he was lying on the bed in the middle of the night, his mind would suddenly surface that scene which he saw on that day. The young lady had a lotus flower-like fair skin, her detailed curvy figure and her slender waist. It seemed to be etched deeply into his mind, unable to disappear. This made him unable to get proper rest as he had to get up in the middle of the night frequently to take cold showers. He wasn't able to work out his cultivation to resist the cold, almost catching a cold. Li Moying picked up the teapot on that low side table as he personally poured some tea and passed it over to the young lady beside him. "Lear, have some tea. In order to entertain the guests from various forces, my master had specially used all the best tea he had collected." Huang Yueli swept a lukewarm glance at him which made Li Moying's heart rumble. Luckily, after she gave a cold humph, she stretched out her arm to take the teacup, delivering it to her lips as she lightly sipped a mouthful. Following that, her expression revealed a satisfied look. Li Moying could tell that this was the 4 signs of her being appeased as he hurriedly brought up the plate from the table. "This osmanthus candy cake is something that you love. I've specially instructed that main chef Lin, whom you liked, to prepare this. Among all the tables here, only we have this. Have a taste." His slender long fingers picked up the osmanthus candy cakes, delivering to Huang Yueli's mouth. Huang Yueli originally didn't want to eat, but this candy cake's osmanthus fragrance was too intense, wearing out her determination. Furthermore, her gaze swept around the surroundings and realized that there indeed was only one set of candy cake in front of her, which made her mood lifted up instantly. She lowered her head and took a bite. "It's delicious." Her eyes turned to curve upwards. This little glutton. Li Moying almost wanted to throw up blood. A peerless, handsome, charming male like him actually couldn't even be compared to a set of osmanthus candy cake. What logic was this? But since Huang Yueli was finally appeased, it made him heave a sigh of relief. Huang Yueli ate the entire piece of osmanthus cake in his hand and licked the corners of her lips as she turned around to take a look at the situation. By now, the entire public square was filled with people. Other than Celestial Light sect and Green Cloud sect's disciples, there were many other sects, people from South and West Sky regions. Huang Yueli quipped curiously, "Why are there so many people?" Li Moying couldn't help but smile when he finally heard her talking to him on her own, so he explained, "There are too many situations arising because of this arena tournament, and as my master and sect master Chui don't trust each other, so they invited quite a number of other sects forces whom they are familiar with, to be a witness." Huang Yueli frowned, but in this way, if the matter regarding the ancient mystic region was revealed, wouldn't it bring about even more trouble? Li Moying smiled, "Relax, these 2 sect masters aren't ordinary people, so would they even leave this out of their considerations? You can also listen on anything regarding the ancient mystic region. Among the 2 sects, only those practitioners who were direct disciples and above knew about it. Ordinary disciples totally don't know about this, thinking that this is just an ordinary tournament. Anyway, we Celestial Light sect and Green Cloud sect had always been at loggerheads, so this isn't something which just happened recently." Hearing Li Moying's explanation, Huang Yueli was suddenly enlightened. "I see." After a while later, various powerhouses guests started to be seated. Murong De and Chui Yuan Shan exchanged glances and stood up. "Welcome all, gracing us with your presence to the joint arena tournament between Celestial Light sect and Green Cloud sect. Without further ado, let's enter into the main topic. Now, our sect will first state the regulations of the tournament." Huang Yueli was sipping her sip while listening in boredom. The regulations in an arena tournament weren't really anything special, which was the usual regulations used in the entire Soaring Heavens continent. Any disciples in the 2 sects could have a try in the arena and the victor would become the arena champion. The defeated party can send out their disciples to challenge the arena champion, and if they won, the challenger would take over to become the new arena champion. Of course, as this was a competition between the 2 sects, in order to prevent the losing sect from using the tactic of several persons taking turns in fighting one opponent to tire him out, there was an additional regulation. That was if the arena champion had been challenged 3 times and had continuously obtained victory, then he would automatically become the final arena champion and the other sect can no longer continue to challenge that person. After Murongde announced the regulations, he turned his head to take a look at Chui Yuan Shan. "Sect Master Chui, do you have anything additional to add on? Cui Yuanshan shook his head. The regulations are a result of the two sects' mutual agreement, so I have no objections. Good, then let the arena tournament officially begin. Will those disciples who want to fight for the arena champion please come on the stage? Muronde had just finished his sentence when disciples from both camps stood out, several people, fighting to get up on stage. But other than the initial people who moved the fastest, right after the first two jumped onto the stage, the others were all stopped by the judges. Huang Yuli took a careful look and discovered that these two disciples' cultivation weren't that high. One was 5th stage realm 2nd level and the other was 5th stage realm 1st level. Anyone below 18 years old who had reached 5th stage realm were considered as a top-rated expert among the ordinary practitioners. Alas, under the official tournament's arena between the two sects, this bit of cultivation immediately wasn't enough at all. Indeed, the two of them had just got on stage and hadn't even started fighting when ridicule started flying all below the stage. Isn't there anyone else in Celestial Light sect? Why did such a cultivation trash even dare to come on stage to make a spectacle out of himself? 5th stage 1st level, in Green Cloud sect, are the lowest ranked practitioners in the last rung among direct disciples. TSK, no wonder they said other than Young sect Masterly, Celestial Light sect totally had no one left. Green Cloud sect's people naturally didn't let go of any chance, using various ridicule, whereas Celestial Light sect's disciples naturally weren't weak as well as they immediately huffed back at them. Why? What's so outstanding about your Green Cloud sect? The disciple up there is merely just 5th stage realm 2nd level, isn't it? Just higher by 1 level, you have the cheek to say such stuff? Isn't that so? Looks like Green Cloud sect's potential is just a so-so as well. Feel that you're outstanding. We don't even need Young sect master to take part and we will still be able to beat you up so hard that you are frightened out of your wits. Both parties started their tongue fights and was extremely clamoring, even more exciting than the actual battle on stage. You can also listen on. As for the other small sect's disciples who had followed their masters over to view the battle, all of them were dumbstruck from hearing those introductions. An 18-year-old 5th stage realm practitioner, in their sects, was already a top-notch talent. Some large sect's eldest disciples had not even reached this cultivation level, but in Celestial Light sect and Green Cloud sect's disciples' view, this was nothing at all. Were the disciples' abilities in these two large sects really that strong? Actually, both sects' disciples were merely bickering and most portions of what they said were exaggerated, but cultivations in the entry level of the 5th stage realm was indeed not very high. In this kind of arena tournaments, in order to prevent the other sects from accidentally winning or exhausting their trump card disciples' potential, they would mostly send ordinary disciples up first. Those who were fighting to get up the stage knew that they would absolutely not become the last man standing, but to be able to display themselves at this kind of occasion in front of South and West Sky regions' powerhouses, this was a rare chance to show their faces. If they were able to defeat their opponent beautifully, perhaps they might even attract the higher management's attention within their own sects, leaping to become a talent which the sect would focus on nurturing. The arena's battle scene was intense and the two practitioners had just fought for a quarter of an hour when the victor emerged. Green Cloud sect's disciples' cultivation was a little higher, hence he obtained victory to become the arena champion. However, before he was able to cheer, another Celestial Light sect's disciple immediately jumped onto the stage, challenging him. This time round, the other party came prepared and had already saw through that their cultivation methods and attributes were of the opposition factor, hence he came up to challenge him. So Green Cloud sect's disciples immediately got beaten until his head was covered with dust as he gloomily scrammed down the stage. The entire process had not even exceeded 10 breaths. But the new arena champion didn't manage to maintain his seat as well and was kicked off the stage very quickly. Momentarily, the tournament ground's atmosphere surged up and the arena champion kept changing like traffic lights. This kind of chain battles easily spiked the opponent's enmity as the masked disciples below the stage entered a bickering battle which also surged upwards. Huang Yueli initially took a few more glances, but after a while, she started to doze off. She used her hand to prop up her chin as she tried her best to resist against Zhou Gong's, God of Dreams, calling while her eyelids grew heavier and heavier. In order to wake herself up, she hurriedly turned her head over to call out for the man beside her. Moying, what are you thinking about? By her side, Li Moying's handsome face was filled with the same kind of coldness and aloofness, as he kept watching the scene in front silently, as though he didn't feel bored at all. But, he didn't answer Huang Yueli's question. Huang Yueli frowned. Moying. Still no response. She finally couldn't take it as she leaned over to poke his arm. Poked once and there was no reaction, so she poked once more, but there was still no reaction. Huang Yueli's brows rose as she patted his shoulder hard. Li Moying finally jolted in shock abruptly as he turned around to look at her. Lear, what's the matter? His expression bore an easy grace and his actions were elegant and conceited, totally not displaying any guilty or shocked expression. 3 black lines slipped down from Huang Yueli's forehead, straight face. This man had obviously fallen asleep. He actually could fall asleep while sitting. She rolled her eyes at Li Moying as she replied to him in a sarcastic manner, Young sect masterly, is it really all right for you to behave in this way? If the disciples below who were working hard find out that their respected young sect master actually fell asleep, what would they think? You can also listen on. Li Moying smiled indifferently, totally with no sense of guilt over being exposed. Anyway, there's no chance for me to participate, so who cares how they think? Furthermore, you are ignoring me, so are you stopping me from sleeping? Actually, he was so sleepy all because of this young lass. Taking cold showers for the past few days, he totally hadn't slept much at all. Furthermore, if he was sitting beside someone else, based on his alertness, he wouldn't be able to sleep at all. It was because his Lear was right beside him which made him felt at ease. As he was saying that, he raised his head and suddenly said, Jian, this fellow, his condition isn't bad at all today. Huang Yueli originally wanted to poke fun at him, but hearing what he said, she turned her head over to look at the stage. Indeed, Luo Jian was in the middle of a battle with a blue-robed disciple. Luo Jian was already a 5th stage realm 5th level practitioner now. Moreover, as his innate talent was at 8th grade, his comprehension was very good, so his ability in terms of actual combat was enough to challenge 5th stage realm 7th or 8th level practitioners. Now the blue-robed disciple whom he was battling with was at 5th stage realm 7th level. Compared to the previous time at Dark Moon Forest, Luo Jian's ability had an obvious upgrade. He was no longer indecisive, and every single time he struck, it was extremely decisive. Even though his opponent's cultivation was higher than his by 2 levels, he still had the upper hand. Later on, he obtained victory as expected. The victor of this round is Celestial Light Sect's direct disciple, Luo Jian. After the judge announced the result, Green Cloud Sect's side went into an uproar, seemingly unable to accept this result. Earlier in the competition, Green Cloud Sect's practitioners obviously had an advantage. Every single time Celestial Light Sect's side won, it was all because their cultivation was much higher, so this was the first time Celestial Light Sect's disciples actually challenged someone from Green Cloud Sect whose cultivation was higher than his by 2 small realms, and even gained victory so easily. Witnessing this scenario, Murongda's face revealed slight signs of complacency as he fiddled with his beard while talking to Cui Yuan Shan beside him. Brother Cui, what do you think of my 5th disciple? He's one of those who ranks behind among my other disciples. So this time he was lucky to have gained victory, all thanks to your disciple's care. Cui Yuan Shan was so angry that his whiskers were jumping as he silently cursed that defeated disciple, but on the surface, he looked calm. Humph, this is just by accident. Consider his good luck, don't tell me he's able to win 3 rounds in a row. Hee, that's hard to say. Murongda also felt that it was impossible, but he refused to admit his loss verbally. Luckily Luo Jiyun lived up to his expectations and consecutively defeated 2 challengers. Huang Yueli really liked this kind and considerate young man as her eyes started to glow from watching his matches. Junior brother Luo is really too incredible. After you've personally mentored him previously, he gained a huge improvement this time round. He has already overcome his character's weak points, so with a little more discipline, he will definitely become a top-rated expert in the South Sky region. But, he had already won 2 rounds. This 3rd round. Green Cloud sect wouldn't admit defeat so easily, right? Li Moying nodded his head. What you said is correct, Luo Jiyun will probably lose in this round. Huang Yueli heard that and turned his head to take a look. He saw a tall and thin young man slowly walking up the stage, whereas Luo Jiyun's expression immediately turned grave. Who is this person? She asked curiously. Li Moying replied, this is Cui Yuanshan's 3rd disciple, name is Fang Xiaoning and his cultivation is already at 6th stage realm 1st level. You can also listen on. The last time Green Cloud sect came over to Celestial Light sect for a tournament, I came back late and hadn't seen him enter the competition. But from what I heard from the others, his ability should have surpassed Jiyun's. Huang Yueli suddenly saw the light. I see. A practitioner who was outstanding in actual combat, challenging a practitioner who was much higher than himself by 1 or 2 small realms might still possibly gain victory, but if the opponent's ability had surpassed the level of a large realm, then if he wanted to gain victory, unless he was peerless geniuses like Huang Yueli or Li Moying, otherwise it's totally impossible. The minute this Fang Xiaoning got up the stage, Luo Jiyun totally had no show. The truth was just as she expected. Even though Luo Jiyun expended every move he had, yet he was still defeated by the opponent in a short amount of time. After Fang Xiaoning became the arena champion, his face revealed a delightful smile as he provoked Celestial Light sect. I'm so sorry, senior brothers and sisters of Celestial Light sect, thank you for letting me win. I originally wanted to leave some face for senior brother Luo, but I'd not expected Celestial Light sect's practitioners to be so weak. He can't even take 3 moves from me, so I'm so sorry for that. Although he said he was sorry, but everyone could tell the complacency from his tone. Earlier when he was on the stage, he totally didn't hold back when he struck. The 3 moves which he struck were extremely incisive attacks, directly beating Luo Jiyun till he totally could not counterattack. Earlier when Luo Jiyun was kicked down from the stage, he looked extremely disheveled. Luo Jiyun lost the competition and was already feeling gloomy. Upon hearing Fang Xiaoning taking his undeserved gain for granted, he was feeling so upset that his eyes turned red. Disciples from Celestial Light sect were also extremely infuriated as all of them started shouting out loud. Simply too much. What's the meaning of this? How dare they say our Celestial Light sect's practitioners are too weak? That's right, Fang Xiaoning didn't even consider the fact that he's already in 6th stage realm, whereas our senior brother Luo is just at 5th stage realm 5th level. It would be strange if he could beat him. Earlier hadn't Green Cloud sect even sent a 5th stage realm 9th level practitioner to challenge senior brother Luo? Senior brother Luo crossed the boundary of 4 small realms and surpassing levels to gain victory. It's so incredible, and yet they have the cheek to say senior brother Luo is weak. Fang Xiaoning is merely using the fact that his cultivation is higher. Fang Xiaoning stood on the stage as he faintly heard all the discussions regarding him. His lips curled into a slight smile of ridicule. Why? You don't seem like you're convinced. Then come on stage and challenge me. Quick, grab hold of the time. The earlier I beat the 3 weaklings from your Celestial Light sect, the earlier I can go back to report to my master. These words were even more undue. He directly said celestial light sex people were all weaklings, so who could tolerate this? Celestial light sex disciples all burst out in anger. Feng Xiaoning, what are you being complacent about? It's not as though we don't have any 6th-stage realm practitioners in Celestial Light Sect, so later we'll beat you running off in a jiffy. That's right, you'd better hurry and wipe your neck clean. Just wait to die. Although they said that, ordinary disciples could only cry out with their mouths and had no skills to go up against a real 6th-stage realm top exponent. 6th-stage realm practitioners, among direct disciples, was an extremely rare existence. But, luckily, a 6th-stage realm direct disciple quickly walked out of the crowd and jumped onto the stage. Huang Yueli felt that the person looked rather familiar and asked, "Who's that now?" Li Moying swept a slight glance. "Oh, that seems to be Elder Han's eldest disciple. He should be called Jie Shixin, also at 6th-stage realm first level. But he won't be able to win. You can also listen on." Huang Yueli couldn't help but burst out laughing. Do you need to put things in this way? You're Celestial Light Sect's young sect master. How could you say that your side's practitioners would lose? Isn't this growing other people's morale and diminishing your own might? Li Moying casually grabbed her little hand as he squeezed it and said lazily, "I'm just speaking the facts." Feng Xiaoning's ability seemed to have ascended by quite a bit. From the 3 moves that he made against Jiyun earlier, he could have possibly broke through to 6th-stage realm 2nd level recently, but even so, the profound skill that he cultivates is very special. He can attack and defend, and if Li Lingchuan was the one there, he would still be able to defeat him. But this Jie Shixin, he still has a long way to go. Towards his judgment, Huang Yueli naturally had no doubts at all. Li Moying had already regained a portion of his memories from his past life, and based on his past life's foresight as Soaring Heavens Continent's #1 top exponent, to watch this 3rd-rated sect's young disciples arena tournament, he absolutely would not judge wrongly. No wonder he was so bored earlier till he actually fell asleep. After Jie Shixin got on stage, he started off with an aggressive posture, intending to defeat his opponent at one go. According to his understanding, Feng Xiaoning was already a top exponent among the younger generation in Green Cloud Sect. If he could defeat him, then Green Cloud Sect would not be able to send any other practitioner who was more powerful than him. In this way, he would become Celestial Light Sect's greatest contributor. The minute he thought of this, Jie Shixin's blood started to boil as he was extremely excited. However, right after he got on stage, he discovered that he was extremely wrong. No matter what moves he made, how many exquisite profound skills he activated, or revolving how much pure profound energy, he was not even able to even touch a corner of Feng Xiaoning's sleeve. Jie Shixin didn't believe in this as he clenched his teeth and continued with his attacks. Feng Xiaoning however laughed as he said, "Senior brother Jie, your attack is really weak. Hurry and show me your real ability. Today is an official arena tournament, and if you continue fooling around like this, it's a total waste of time." Jie Shixin almost couldn't breathe. He wasn't fooling around. Every single move he made exhausted all his energy, but Feng Xiaoning still felt that his attack was too weak. Could it be that Feng Xiaoning was really that strong? How could that be possible? Jie Shixin was extremely shocked as sweat started to drip down on his forehead. But Celestial Light Sect's disciples below couldn't tell the oddity in him as they continued to encourage him. "Senior brother Jie, play up. Kick that fellow surnamed Feng off the stage. Just looking at that complacent face makes me disgusted." Jie Shixin was in a tough position and could only try his best, using his ultimate killer move. Feng Xiaoning gave a cold laugh as he rolled up his sleeves and a burst of profound energy crashed right into his. The disparity between the two was simply too huge, and while they were going up against each other, it appeared vivid and incisive. Jie Shirshin lost control of his body as he flew outwards and spat out a mouthful of blood in mid-air, crashing onto the ground below the stage. Celestial Light Sect's side instantly became silent. They had never expected that although they were both at 6th stage realm, the disparity between the abilities was actually so wide. Jie Shirshin fainted totally the minute he hit the ground, losing all consciousness. On the stage, Murongda's expression became steely green. Jie Shirshin was already considered as one of the top disciples among those in Celestial Light Sect who were taking part in the arena tournament, and Murongda had high hopes for him. Whoever knew that he was actually so useless, to have lost so terribly with a practitioner whose cultivation was very similar to his. You can also listen on. Cui Yuan Shan immediately started laughing out loudly as he looked at Murongda in ridicule. What's the matter, brother Murong? What do you think about my third disciple? Earlier you were mentioning that his cultivation was high so he could defeat your disciple. How about now? That disciple below the stage is of 6th stage realm too, right? Both their cultivation is around the same, but the disparity in their ability is so huge. How are you going to explain this? Murongda clenched his teeth silently as he cursed that the villain had gained success. He gave a cold humph and said, "What are you happy about? It's merely just defeating the first challenger. We Celestial Light Sect still have 2 more chances. Just wait and see, you'd not be able to laugh very soon." Oh. Really? Cui Yuan Shan's expression had an obvious disdain in it. Murongda was infuriated and immediately called out loudly, "Fair, what are you doing? Other people are humiliating a Celestial Light Sect, aren't you going up on stage quickly?" Murong Fei then stood up from the contenders' seating as she raised her body slightly towards Murongda. Yes. The minute she got up, Celestial Light Sect's disciples all started to stir. It's senior sister Murong. She's finally going to show her move. Senior sister Murong is our sect master's daughter, and it's rumored that her ability is just below senior brother Li Lingchuan. Although her cultivation is also in the 6th stage realm, but her ability far surpasses ordinary 6th stage realm practitioners. That's right. I've also heard that before young sect master had a change of heart, falling in love with that armament master, her profound skills were all self-taught by young sect master. What? There's such a thing. Then senior sister Murong's ability must definitely be extraordinary. That's great. Senior sister Murong, quickly get up and punch that disgusting gigolo. Murong Fei heard the crowd cheering and praises as the smile on her face couldn't be controlled. She had been controlling herself from making a move earlier, all for this moment. She had long seen through the fact that Jie Shirshin totally wasn't Fang Xiaoning's match, but she didn't stop him. Because only after he was defeated and after she got up to defeat the opponent, would she be able to attract everyone's attention and praises, and to show that her ability was much stronger than same-generation practitioners by several times. Now, Murongda finally called out her name and everyone's gazes were all concentrated on her, so it's finally time for her to show herself glamorously. Murong Fei had made sufficient preparations. Not only had she gone into closed-door cultivation for quite some time, before she left her home, she had even specially dressed herself up. Right now, she intentionally unleashed a portion of her profound energy as she walked over with light steps, slowly getting up on stage. This posture totally contained the demeanor of a large sect's daughter. She looked extraordinary. Celestial Light Sect's disciples were all cheering like mad. Senior sister Murong is just too beautiful. With both ability and beauty, she's such a rare find. Today our Celestial Light Sect will be depending on her. It's no wonder that she's Sect Master's daughter. Just standing up is enough to hold the entire scene in awe. Cui Yuan Shan looked at her stance as he gave a cold humph. Brother Murong, your daughter is indeed beautiful, but a battle is different from a banquet. That requires genuine ability to talk. My disciple is not the kind of weakling whose legs grow soft from seeing a beauty. Don't expect him to show any mercy. Murongda was smiling as he looked at his daughter, feeling extremely complacent in his heart. He was clearest on Murong Fei's innate talent, and furthermore, Murong Fei had been practicing an exclusive profound skill which was kept within the Murong family. You can also listen on. Plus the fact that Murong Fei was agitated by Li Moying within this period of time, she had spent more effort in cultivating. She was absolutely well prepared for this round's arena tournament. In Murongda's views, Murong Fei's combined abilities had far surpassed Fang Xiaoning's, so obtaining victory was no problem at all. Brother Cui, why talk big with your eyes closed? My daughter's abilities are something which everyone can tell. If you lose the quota later, don't cry over it. Of course, since we're already old friends, if you beg me properly later on, I might just donate another 2 to 3 quotas. Cui Yuanshan saw his complacent look as he couldn't help but sneer. Brother Murong, I advise you not to be too happy for now. The arena tournament has yet to end, and who will emerge as victor is still too early to be certified. Murongda squinted his eyes as his instincts told him that something was not right. Because Cui Yuanshan had been too calm. For something who was about to lose his pants off, surely he wouldn't be that calm, right? Could it be that he had some other moves behind his back? But he simply couldn't guess what Cui Yuanshan was thinking about. Furthermore, towards Murong Fei's ability, he was very confident. By now, Murong Fei had already walked to the stage. Fang Xiaoning crossed his arms as he sized her up from head to toe, speaking with a tinge of frivolousness. Indeed, a large sex daughter, your looks are really not bad. But I wonder how your ability is. I will say the ugly words first, I won't show pity and tenderness just because you're a woman. Murong Fei gave a cold humph. Do I need you to give in to me? You've been hurling insults to my celestial light sect, so today I will teach you a lesson on behalf of all my sect's disciples. Murong Fei's words were indeed beautiful as disciples from celestial light sect all started applauding. Senior Sister Murong, beautifully said. Celestial light sect is depending on you. Beat him flat, let him see the prowess of our celestial light sect. Stop the small talk with that scum, show him some colors. Murong Fei heard everyone's praises as her lips curled into a smile, her vision uncontrollably turning towards Li Moying on the high stage. What she wanted to see was Li Moying's attention and encouraging gaze for her. However, she almost threw up blood as her good mood disappeared without a trace when the scene registered into her vision. Because the current Li Moying had totally not placed any attention on what's happening on the tournament stage. Instead, he was holding a bowl and a soup spoon, feeding the young lady next to him. Huang Yueli didn't reciprocate him as she pushed him away in disdain, snatching over the spoon and feeding herself instead. This was simply too much. There were so many female disciples' wishes to be treated gently by eldest senior brother, but that little slut actually pushed away eldest senior brother. 3, 2, 1. The competition starts. She was still in a daze when the judge had already announced the start of the tournament. Murong Fei hurriedly recollected her senses, but she had already lost the first opportunity, caught unprepared by Fang Xiaoning. A palm was struck out towards her, and when it almost hit her body, Murong Fei then swiftly regained her senses, trying to evade it. But the palm still struck past her arm, and the wind blade that followed it tore her sleeve. The stage below started to clamor. How did this happen? Isn't Senior Sister Murong very incredible? That's right, they're both 6th-stage realm practitioners and their cultivations are so similar, but she actually got hit on the first move. You can also listen on. Even Murongda couldn't help but cry out, Feier, the competition has already started, what are you thinking of? You're our sect's hope, you can't mess up at the crucial moment. Murong Fei felt embarrassed as she silently cursed that it was all that little slut's fault. But she didn't dare to dilly-dallied as she forcefully shifted away her thoughts from Li Moying, concentrating her attention in the battle. Murong Fei's ability was indeed extraordinary, and usually it was outstanding because Li Moying and Li Lingchuan's rays had already covered her. Today, with this opportunity, she gradually revealed her abilities in front of everyone. Gathering all her attention, she quickly gained the upper hand. Murong Fei's cultivation was also at 6th stage realm 2nd level, the same as Feng Xiaoning. Feng Xiaoning was originally full of confidence, feeling that he would definitely be able to defeat her. But as time went by, he was gradually suppressed by Murong Fei. Murong Fei's moves executed smoother and smoother, as dazzling rays of her profound energy shone around her surroundings. Slowly, Feng Xiaoning was pushed to a corner of the stage and he was about to fall off. Celestial Light Sect's side was roaring with applause and cheers. Everyone seemed to be cheering Murong Fei on. "Senior Sister Murong, you're too incredible." "That's right, indeed, Sect Master's daughter, so her ability is that strong. In the past we've thought too little of Senior Sister Murong, she's an 8th grade talent. Only practitioners with such strong abilities are worthy of young Sect Master. Although that Armament Master's status is valuable, but when it comes to gaining glory for the sect, what can she do?" "That's right, I also feel that Senior Sister Murong is more compatible with young Sect Master." Just as Li Lingchuan predicted before the match, with Murong Fei's pending victory, many people's thoughts started to waver as they moved towards Murong Fei's side. Huang Yueli was also paying attention to the battle. As she watched, her brows started to furrow. Strange, although Murong Fei's performance isn't too bad and she has already gained the absolute advantage, but why do I have an intuition that something bad is going to happen? Li Moying opened his mouth indifferently, maybe because her win came too easily. Right, that's exactly what I meant. Huang Yueli nodded. Speaking of that, Sect Master Cui had been displaying that confident look, and now that their strongest disciple under his wing had already been forced to a corner by Murong Fei, he's actually not tense at all. It's just not right. Saying that, she suddenly turned her head around. Right, how did you know what I was thinking about? Li Moying gave a light smile as he intentionally leaned to her and said in a deep voice, "Because I'm the one who understands you the most. Furthermore, my thinking is the same as yours." Huang Yueli felt her face burning up by that concentrated gaze of his. Li Moying saw her enraptured look as he was feeling complacent secretly. He suddenly opened his mouth. "Look quickly, Murong Fei is about to gain victory." Huang Yueli then realized that she almost fell into his handsome male trap as she couldn't help but gave him a stare before turning towards the stage. On the stage, a burst of profound energy struck out from Murong Fei's finger, and as Feng Xiaoning had exhausted too much of his energy in the entanglement earlier, he had no energy to evade it and was struck directly in the chest. Feng Xiaoning was sent flying as his body crashed heavily on the edge of the stage. Just a little bit more and he would fall off. You can also listen on. His hand clutched his chest as he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood, not able to climb up. When Murong Fei saw his terrible state, she could no longer suppress the smile on her face as she started laughing out loud. "Junior brother Feng, thank you for giving in to me. Surely you didn't show me any mercy, right? If not, this ability is really a little too weak." Celestial Light Sect's disciples were all praising her with all sorts of beautiful verbs, raising how strong her ability was, how elegant her temperament was, her beauty, and all sorts of flattery which fell incessantly on the ear. From their stance, they had simply raised Murong Fei onto the god altar. Indistinctive praises flowed to the stage, making Murong Fei extremely comfortable. She hadn't enjoyed such treatment of being treated like a celebrity, especially ever since that little slut surnamed by came. Not only had she snatched away the man of her dreams, she even snatched away the glamour which she had, and even her own father didn't stand on her side. All these rage had been simmering in Murong Fei for a long time. Until today, she was finally able to feel proud and elated. She proved that she was much stronger than that little slut who only knew how to refine armaments. Even Murong De, who was observing the battle from the stage, heaved a long sigh of relief. His heart had been stuck at the back of his throat and he could finally rest assured. Luckily his daughter lived up to his expectations, eventually obtaining victory in the arena tournament. Having won this round of crucial battle, Green Cloud sect shouldn't have any other stronger practitioners than Feng Xiaoning, so there should be no other concepts about Murong Fei's arena champion position. This also meant that 70% of ancient mystic quota was secured successfully. Murong De was feeling complacent as he turned around to take a look at Cui Yuanshan. Brother Cui, this quota will probably belong to Celestial Light Sect. I'm so sorry about it. He was originally expecting to see Cui Yuanshan's furious and disappointed expression and also thought about how he would give him a blow following this. However, the real fact was Cui Yuanshan held a composed look as a deep long smile was carried on his lips. This fellow. Surely it wasn't because he hadn't obtained the ancient mystic region's quota so he got so angry that he went mad from it. The judge stood on the side of the arena as he loudly declared, "The winner of this challenge is Challenger Murong." Murong Fei was smiling as she was listening to the final verdict. When almost everyone thought that the competition results were confirmed and there wouldn't be any more changes. But at this moment, an unforeseen event happened. A burst of strange cold laughter was suddenly emitted from the corner of the stage. "Mr. Judge, I haven't seemed to have admitted my defeat nor have I been kicked out of the stage, so how could you casually declare that Murong Fei had gained victory?" Everyone was in a daze as they followed the judge's line of sight. Not knowing when it was, Feng Xiaoning suddenly climbed up from the ground and all the wounds on his body had all healed, and there was not a place in sight of any bleeding at all. The strangest thing was there was slight darkness in between his forehead, between the eyebrows, as the might from the profound energy unleashed from him grew extremely powerful. You. What's going on?" Murong Fei had an abrupt change of expression as she looked at Feng Xiaoning in shock. The current him was emitting an extremely dangerous presence and the immense suppression on her made her felt as though she was facing a top-rated exponent whose cultivation had surpassed hers by quite a lot. But how could this be possible? Earlier they were in a battle for quite a long time and Feng Xiaoning's cultivation was about the same as hers, just that his ability was lacking slightly. You can also listen on. Why was it that within a blink of an eye, Feng Xiaoning had changed into another person with a sudden increase in ability? Murong De, who was on the viewing platform, seemed extremely shocked as he couldn't help but jerked up from his seat. This. Feng Xiaoning, this is berserk state. Cui Yuanshan looked at his flabbergasted look as he stroked his beard while chuckling. Indeed, Sect Master Murong, your sight is so impeccable that you can even tell from one look. That's right, this is berserk state. How could this be possible? Although I had once read about it in the ancient books, during the ancient times, some practitioners with a special kind of bloodline could upgrade their own ability by a large notch for a short span of time through mastering special cultivation methods and with the combination of medicinal pills to enter into the state of maniacization. But, wasn't it said that this special cultivation method had gone missing? Murong De simply didn't dare to believe his own eyes. Cui Yuanshan's smile became even more complacent. Once, this cultivation method was indeed missing, but several years ago, Sky Emperor City's Ling family found this cultivation method in some other mystic region by accident. Not only was the maniacization cultivation method's conditions harsh, it also required a naturally powerful meridians and skeletal structure and also to have a combination of earth, wood, and metal tri-attributes practitioner. There was no one in the Ling family who could cultivate this at all. Luckily, this disciple of mine has this kind of innate talent, so I paid a huge price for this to exchange the cultivation method for him to master. Murong De had not expected such a thing to happen, as shock and fury could not describe his feelings by now. But, last time when you were here for the tournament in Celestial Light Sect, Feng Xiaoning obviously did not display such ability. If he had the ability to go into maniacization, then why didn't he show it that time? Cui Yuanshan said, why should I let him show this skill, Brother Murong, do you think I've gone silly? Anyway, my eldest disciple Lang Yifeng's ability had long surpassed Feng Xiaoning's maniac state's ability, so whether he went into maniac state or not, it had no influence towards the result, so why should I let him reveal it? Hiding his real ability, perhaps he might be able to show it in other occasions where there would be an accidental surprise, don't you think so, Brother Murong? Saying that, Cui Yuanshan burst out into another peal of laughter as his self-congratulatory feeling was shown all over his face. Murongde almost fainted from anger. Apparently, Cui Yuanshan's accidental surprise was referring to the arena tournament where he had exceeded everyone's expectations to defeat Celestial Light Sect's disciples. Relating back to the beginning, not allowing practitioners who were above 18 years old to take part in the arena tournament was simply a setup which Green Cloud's sect had designed, specially to make them fall into their trap. Whereas he actually still jumped in foolishly, even Li Moying had not seen through their plot. No wonder Cui Yuanshan acted so magnanimously, automatically clarifying that Lang Yifeng also couldn't take part in the arena tournament. He thought that this Cui fellow finally found his conscience, so, this was the real truth. Murongde's intestines started to turn green from regret. But nothing they said now were of any help. On the other hand, Huang Yueli had also noticed Feng Xiaoning's current situation on the first look. Heavens! Feng Xiaoning now is in state of maniacization. Li Moying nodded, should be correct. I had not expected that this Feng Xiaoning's innate talent is quite good that he could even master the maniacization cultivation method. Compared to Murongde, the both of them weren't that shocked. Although this cultivation method was rather rare, it wasn't like what the rumors said to have completely lost. You can also listen on. In her past life where the strong were gathered in Sky Emperor City, they had seen quite a number of practitioners who were able to suddenly went into maniacization to raise their abilities in the middle of a battle, but Feng Xiaoning is West Sky Region's sect disciple, to have such great innate talent to master this cultivation method was indeed hard to come by. That went to show just how much resources had Green Cloud's sect invested on him. Looks like they placed high hopes on him. Huang Yueli's brow slightly wrinkled. This Feng Xiaoning, after maniacization, he had raised at least 5 small realms of cultivation and his ability had already reached 6-stage realm 7th level, 18-year-old reaching 6-stage realm 5th level. Generally only peerless geniuses with 9th grade innate talents were able to reach that. Feng Xiaoning had the aid of maniacization cultivation method to reach such a high stage realm. In this way, the disparity between him and Murong Fei was simply too large. Although Murong Fei's power of comprehension and profound skills utilization was much stronger than his by a huge notch, but under the circumstances where there was such a large disparity in abilities, not one profound skill was of use. Murong Fei apparently also realized this as she felt the powerful aura unleashed from Feng Xiaoning's body, so she instantly felt her legs going soft. She couldn't understand why Feng Xiaoning suddenly became so powerful, but she could sense the powerfulness in the other party. Feng Xiaoning looked at her miserably pale face as he sneered, Miss Murong, I haven't officially admitted my defeat earlier and the battle is still ongoing, so let's cross some moves. You, don't come over. Watching Feng Xiaoning's footsteps nearing her, Murong Fei couldn't help but shuffled back. Feng Xiaoning could tell that she was extremely terrified and became even more complacent. Miss Murong, you're the sect master's daughter. If it wasn't for the fact that I had no choice, I didn't want to let you lose too terribly. Why not like this? If you automatically admit your defeat, then we can let things go. Otherwise, with my current strength, even I myself is not able to control it properly. If I hurt you, then Sect Master Murong's reputation would be really bad. His tone was half threatening as he spoke out slowly. Feng Xiaoning naturally thought of hurting Murong Fei badly, so show himself off. But Cui Yuanshan had been reminding him not to beat up Murong Fei too badly. It would be better if she could automatically admit defeat. After all, Murong Fei's mother was someone whom Cui Yuanshan wooed after when he was young, so there was a more or less love me, love my dog meaning in it. Murong Fei originally was worried that she would be injured. She was waiting for the mystic region to open up so that she could enter the ancient mystic region for experience training. If she sustained heavy injury at the arena tournament because of the sect causing her to be unable to enter the mystic region, then the quota she obtained would go to someone else, then wouldn't she had suffered a huge loss. Although being Celestial Light Sect's heroine gained face for her, but that was established on the basis that she had the chance to win the quota first. Since she knew that she wasn't able to win, then she wouldn't go face the trouble head-on. Murong Fei was thinking in this way when she suddenly had the intention to retreat. Since that's the case, then before Murong Fei could finish her sentence, Celestial Light Sect's disciples below the stage all started to discuss loudly in terror. What's the situation? Why did that Feng Xiaoning suddenly become so powerful? Yes, what on earth is going on? Had he taken some miracle pill or cultivated some abnormal cultivation method? Heaven knows. From this look, the disparity between Senior Sister Murong and his ability is too great. Then what should we do? I think things are going to be bad. Senior Sister Murong took a step back earlier. Is she not going to stand up to him and prepare to admit defeat? You can also listen on. Impossible. Would Senior Sister Murong even do such a thing like this? Admitting defeat the moment she meets some stronger opponent, that's not the spirit which a practitioner should have. Senior Sister Murong would absolutely not do this. That's right, Senior Sister Murong is representing a Celestial Light Sect for this battle, so how is it possible for her to have cold feet now? The discussions below the stage got louder and louder as everyone looked at her anxiously, afraid that she would suddenly admit defeat. Murong Fei had originally prepared the words to admit defeat, but under so many hopeful eyes on her, how was she going to say it out? If she really said the two words, I lost, then she would definitely be condemned universally, becoming Celestial Light Sect sinner. Especially in front of those ordinary disciples. If they found out that this arena tournament was to fight for the quota to enter the ancient mystic region, then they would probably be even more disappointed with her. Feng Xiaoning kept a tight watch over her. Miss Murong, how about it? Have you considered already? If you're not going to admit defeat, then I won't show any mercy. After all, this battle is of great importance, so I must be responsible for my sect. Murong Fei clenched her teeth as an intense battle started in her heart. Right now, she seemed to be bound up and roasted on fire. She deeply sensed the feeling of being unable to get down from the tiger's back. At last, she hissed the sentence out in great difficulty, I will not admit defeat. She couldn't not say this because the disciples below the stage were all stirred up in a group emotion. Even Murong's forehead was creased as he looked at her. If she admitted defeat at this moment, then she would not be able to continue her life in the sect. Feng Xiaoning heard that and sneered, since that's the case, then let's start. Actually, he didn't wish for Murong Fei to admit defeat. Otherwise, without an opponent, there was no chance for him to display his profound skill. It was such a rare chance that various large powerhouses had all gathered at one place and that he could display his true ability, so he really didn't want to miss this. The minute Feng Xiaoning finished talking, he didn't stop his actions as his hands formed incantation gestures and a huge profound energy gathered towards him. On the other hand, he moved towards the front and speedily struck. Murong Fei only saw him turning into a flash of remnant image and her eyes immediately popped out in shock. The degree of Feng Xiaoning's ability upgrade had exceeded her imagination. This speed was much faster than earlier by at least twice. Murong Fei hastily retreated backwards trying to evade him, but not only was Feng Xiaoning's speed fast, the direction of the moves which he made were very artful. In a moment, he had already used his aura to lock down all the positions around her. Murong Fei tried her ultimate best to extend her most exquisite footwork and just barely avoided the important parts from being hit. Even so, she was still struck on the shoulder by his profound energy. A wound appeared on her shoulder and blood started to flow. To a practitioner, this kind of injury was considered as a light injury. But Murong Fei was still feeling exceptionally shocked. Earlier Feng Xiaoning was totally at a disadvantage, but now he was much stronger than her. This meant that he had at least upgraded to a minimum of 3 small realms. Then how was she going to continue fighting? Besides that, Feng Xiaoning's first move was already that vicious. If they really continued, she would absolutely be injured. Murong Fei cried out urgently, "Senior brother. Feng, wait a minute. I have something to say." Right now she could not be bothered about the issue on face. She still harbored thoughts on entering the ancient mystic region, so she could not be injured right here. However, Feng Xiaoning had finally found an opportunity to make his move, so how would he easily let her off like that? Hearing Murong Fei speak out, not only did he not stop, instead he increased his speed as his move was like lightning. Within an instant he had already struck out 10 over moves, all directing it towards Murong Fei's vital points. You can also listen on. Murong Fei originally had no mood to continue battling as she used the most passive means of evasion. At this moment, Feng Xiaoning utilized his profound skill in full strength as his attack speed raised to the maximum notch. Murong Fei almost couldn't see his actual positioning and could only see flashes of remnant images hovering above in midair. She tried her best to evade him once and again but still had no way to break away from Feng Xiaoning's pursuit. Finally, Feng Xiaoning forced her to the boundary of the arena as he struck out directly towards her chest. By now, Murong Fei had totally lost hopes. She had no space to evade him as she was struck flying directly, even flying through the crowd, crashing heavily onto the spectators' seats. Feng Xiaoning had aimed for that position as the place which Murong Fei fell from was exactly where Celestial Light Sect's disciples gathered. Following Murong Fei's fall, the spectators' seating area was totally silent. Following that, terrified panting exploded as many disciples crowded around, trying to aid Murong Fei. But Murong Fei had broken several bones in her body when she crashed, so no matter how they called out to her, they weren't able to wake her up. The rest of the disciples were all shocked and disappointed. Heavens! Senior Sister Murong is really going to lose. Why did this happen? Why did Feng Xiaoning suddenly become so strong? Aren't Green Cloud Sect's people too vicious? They actually dealt such a lethal hand on Senior Sister Murong. I wonder how she is right now. Sigh, there's no choice. After all, this is a tournament between the two sects, so how would the people from Green Cloud Sect show any mercy? Other than sympathizing with Murong Fei, many others also revealed slight dissatisfaction. I thought Senior Sister Murong would win. Before the competition started, weren't everyone saying just how powerful Senior Sister Murong's ability was, or how high her innate talent was, comparable to young sect master? That's right. They even said that young sect master shouldn't find an armament master but should be together with her instead. From the current outlook, her ability wasn't as strong as exaggerated. The entire sect's hope of victory was all placed on her and she just lost like that. Then following this, that Feng Xiaoning is now the arena champion. Senior Sister Murong is really unreliable. Don't tell me that without young sect master, we Celestial Light Sect really isn't Green Cloud Sect's match. All the disciples were extremely dejected. After all, in the last tournament, as Li Moying was around, he had swept away all the practitioners in Green Cloud's sect. Even the one who was famed as Green Cloud's sect's #1 genius Lang Yifeng wasn't his match as well. But now, just after a few months, the situation had reversed. The disparity is just too obvious. Looking at Green Cloud's sect's disciples' delighted smile and the jeering which came continuously, everyone felt that they were so humiliated that they weren't able to lift up their heads. Whereas for those direct disciples who knew about the real motive behind the arena tournament, they were even more melancholic. Murong Fei's failure meant that Celestial Light sect's quota for entering the ancient mystic region became a mere 30%. Many people's dissatisfaction with Murong Fei grew because she had claimed that she would definitely obtain victory right before the competition started. This made the direct disciples feel full confidence with her, hence everyone tried their best to fawn on her, just so that after she obtained victory, she would be able to bring them into the mystic region with her. But now, she actually lost at such a crucial juncture in the competition. You can also listen on. When Murong saw Murong Fei sustaining a heavy injury, he was so anxious that he immediately got up from his seat and ran down the stage, personally bringing the sect's doctors to check on her. When he witnessed Murong Fei's terrible state, Murong felt extremely infuriated. He had not expected that Green Cloud sect's people could be so vicious. Murong shouted angrily in an accusation tone, "Cui Yuan Shan, what's the meaning of this? It's just an arena tournament and you actually allow your sect's disciples to deal her with such a vicious move." Cui Yuan Shan was originally rather upset, but on hearing Murong's chiding, he immediately rebutted, "Brother Murong, these words are simply too much. Although it is an arena tournament, but during a battle, swords have no eyes, so who can guarantee that they won't hurt the other party? Moreover, my disciple had given your daughter a chance to admit defeat, but she refused, so how could you blame Xiaoning for this?" Murong retorted angrily, "This is pure denial. Earlier she was already forced to the side of the arena, so why didn't he give her a chance to admit defeat?" Saying that, he didn't wait for Cui Yuan Shan to reply as he shot his gaze towards Fang Xiaoning. "Fang Xiaoning, what great guts you have! You dare to hurt Celestial Light sect's disciples intentionally in Celestial Light sect itself. Did you really think I won't punish you?" He walked towards Fang Xiaoning as his expression sunk to the lowest point and a 9th stage realm top expert's imposing might started to leak out from his body. A moment later, the entire public square was affected as everyone found breathing difficult. For those disciples whose cultivation was slightly lower, their faces started to turn pale. Fang Xiaoning bore the brunt as he gave a moan and a streak of blood started flowing from the corner of his lips. Murong was so angry now that he was going mad, even having the thoughts of killing someone. Murong Fei was his beloved daughter and he placed huge emphasis on this eldest daughter. If she was injured because of this incident, hence delaying her chance to enter the ancient mystic region for experience training, then her loss would be extremely huge. Furthermore, because of Murong Fei's loss, Celestial Light sect's quota would become a mere 30%. With the two elements mixed together, it made Murong so angry that he felt faint. The moment he unleashed his profound energy, it totally had no limits and he almost made a move right on the spot. Just as this moment, a burst of even more overbearing profound energy flooded the stage. This burst of profound energy coincidentally negated Murong's profound energy, which instantly reduced the impact of the pressure on those practitioners there. Murong raised his head and saw Cui Yuan Shan's figure appearing on the stage, blocking himself in front of Fang Xiaoning. Cui Yuan Shan gave a cold harumph, "Brother Murong, you're too much. The competition rules had been set way before the competition, and now that you lost, you turn into a sore loser and think of going back on your words. Furthermore, you're acting like a bully threatening the weak, actually striking out on the younger generation. You really gave Celestial Light sect some face." Murong's ability totally wasn't comparable to Cui Yuan Shan as he was instantly suppressed. Hearing Cui Yuan Shan's speech, he then abruptly realized this. If Celestial Light Sect lost the arena tournament and he personally killed the arena champion. If this matter leaked out, that was a worldwide gossip. There were so many other powerhouses practitioners here watching, so if he really did that, Celestial Light Sect's reputation would be finished. Murongda forcefully suppressed his rage as he said, "I'm not intending to go back on my words, just too infuriated. Just an arena tournament and he'd laid such a heavy hand on my disciple, isn't that too much? Brother Murong, injuring your beloved daughter is indeed Fang Xiaoning's fault. I'll get him to apologize to you right now. You can also listen on." Cui Yuan Shan's heart had already ascertained that the 70% quota to the Mystic region was a sure thing in Green Cloud Sect's pocket. Having gained such a huge advantage, surely apologizing to Murongda and giving him some face didn't mean anything. He turned around and signaled to Fang Xiaoning with his eyes. Fang Xiaoning immediately reciprocated, "Sect Master Murong, I'm really sorry about it. But this cultivation method of mine raised my ability instantly, so I myself is not able to control this sudden increase of profound energy, so I might not have grasped the control well. I hope you can understand." This reply was just too superficial. Fang Xiaoning's type of cultivation method definitely required him to cultivate daily, and this absolutely wasn't the first time he was using it, but he said he couldn't control it well. No one would believe that. Murongda's expression was extremely ugly. Couldn't control it. Do you think this sect master is silly or what? This sect master thinks that you had done that intentionally, having ulterior motives. As he was saying that, he started to become agitated. Cui Yuan Shan was speaking coldly on the side. "Enough, Brother Murong, my disciple had already apologized, so what else do you want? Accidentally injuring the opponent in a battle originally was a common thing. It's not as if you haven't entered into a tournament with others before." Murongda's face was gloomy. Sect Master Cui really knows how to be sarcastic. "The person who is injured now is not your disciple, so of course you would say that." Cui Yuan Shan replied, "If it was my disciple who was beaten up, would absolutely not be so unwilling to forgive. Now the arena tournament hasn't ended, you can find a disciple with greater ability to go up the stage and challenge him. If Fang Xiaoning himself doesn't have the ability and gets injured, I will not blame Celestial Light Sect." His words were beautifully said, but it was meaning to say such things if one went into details. Because all the practitioners present knew that Murong Fei was the one with the strongest ability among Celestial Light Sect's under 18 practitioners. Otherwise they wouldn't have let her come out as a finale. Anyway, since there was no one who could injure Fang Xiaoning, so he simply beautified his words, making him appear as magnanimous and without any worries. As expected, hearing Cui Yuan Shan's declaration, other than Celestial Light Sect's practitioners, the other practitioners in the other powerhouses all started to sigh. Green Cloud Sect really is the #1 sect in West Sky region, and Sect Master Cui is indeed impressive. Isn't that so? A battle originally results in accidents. Didn't that Celestial Light Sect's disciple also injure someone else earlier? Why is it that Miss Murong cannot get beaten up? That's right, if Sect Master Murong isn't content, then he can also find a stronger disciple to go up the stage to teach Fang Xiaoning a lesson. This kind of thing all depends on ability to talk. If you're on the competition ground and still require others to show mercy, then might as well kneel down and admit defeat. Celestial Light Sect is also a large sect in South Sky region, so why didn't they get this logic right? Murongda was so angry that his face turned steely green. These words were like a slap, fiercely hitting on his face. He himself knew that this was the best timing for revenge, to let his disciples beat him back viciously. In Soaring Heavens Continue, using ability to talk was the most straightforward method. However, he couldn't find any other candidate already. Murongda had placed all his hopes on Murong Fei, and even though she had lost so terribly, what more about anyone else? Cui Yuanshan looked at Murongda's expression and knew that he had no other way out as he purposely urged him. Sect Master Murong, since everyone says the same thing, then please hurry to send another disciple up the stage. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Feng Xiaoning had already accepted 2 challenges, and if he wins one more round, he would be the real arena champion. You can also listen on. Murongda was cursing Cui Yuanshan thousands of times in his heart. How would this fellow not be able to tell that there was no one else left in Celestial Light Sect? But he had to pretend to be so magnanimous and kept urging him to send someone up. Wasn't this plainly waiting to see Celestial Light Sect's joke? Furthermore, what Cui Yuanshan said was right. Feng Xiaoning had already won 2 rounds consecutively, and the next round he obtained victory. He would be the rightful and official arena champion. But this round, whether they competed or not, didn't make much difference anymore. Cui Yuanshan urged again, Brother Murong, from your looks, surely it can't be that no one in Celestial Light Sect dares to come and take up the challenge, right? Then that's such a pity. As the #1 sect in the entire South Sky region, there aren't even 3 people who can challenge my disciple. Sigh. Indeed, not the same as that year. Since that's the case, let's stop wasting time. You can directly announce your loss. Who says Celestial Light Sect admits defeat? Murongda was so infuriated that he blew his beard and eyes widened, cutting off his conversation. We Celestial Light Sect is a sect which had accumulated for several thousand years, so naturally we have many talents. Do you think that just because your disciple had learnt the maniacization cultivation method and he's amazing, so you dare to disregard a Celestial Light Sect? As the saying went, it was okay to lose face but not in array, so how would Murongda stand being despised by him in such a way? The both of them had battled for their entire lives, and even until now, even if one beat Murongda to death, he would also not admit defeat. Cui Yuanshan chuckled, alright, looks like this sect master had thought too lowly of your Celestial Light Sect. Then will you please hurry and send someone up the stage? He wanted to take a good look to see who Murongda could still send out. Murongda knew that things were not good, but since his words had already been blurted, the current situation didn't allow him to mince it. He could only turn his head around to Celestial Light Sect's disciples as he said loudly, all Celestial Light Sect disciples, everyone had already heard for yourself how much Green Cloud Sect's people look down on us. Are you all resigned to be looked down like that? Celestial Light Sect's disciples naturally were feeling indignant together. Of course we're not resigned. Green Cloud Sect has gone too far. Humph, when they were beaten pants down by young sect master then, where were their guts to be so arrogant with us? Now that young sect master didn't enter this competition, they all started to be smug. Murongda continued, now is the last decisive match. If anyone is able to defeat Feng Xiaoning and gain victory for Celestial Light Sect in this arena competition, then this sect master will guarantee that I will take you in under my wing immediately, letting you enjoy the best treatment in the sect, using all the resources while cultivating, and it will all be supplied by the sect. You can also choose any cultivation method or profound skills. If anyone has this confidence, you may step up the stage to take up the challenge. Murongda's words immediately caused an uproar of discussions. One must know that for a large sect like Celestial Light Sect with tens of thousands of years of accumulated resources was something which could not be underestimated. Furthermore, the administrators of the sect were extremely strict. So even if it was Li Moying who wanted to exchange for cultivation methods or profound skills in Celestial Light Sect scripture depository also needed to use contribution points. But now, Murongda had said that they could choose any cultivation method or profound skills. Additionally, Murongda also gave the promise to supply all resources and he would coach and guide personally. This kind of treatment made the disciples in Celestial Light Sect extremely aroused, and immediately quite a number of people started to stir. But thinking was one thing, those who dared to take action was another, and no one dared to. Earlier Fang Xiaoning's vicious ways towards Murong Fei was witnessed by everyone. If they were to be defeated by Fang Xiaoning, they would absolutely be injured severely. You can also listen on. Furthermore, Murong Fei's ability was recognized by all the disciples in Celestial Light sect. Those who had the confidence in their abilities to surpass her and were still under 18 years of age, was none at all. Murong Fei had already lost, so who else had the guts to embarrass themselves? Everyone was clear that this was Celestial Light sect's last chance, and the entire sect's hopes depended on this last battle. If that person won, he would be able to show off his extraordinary talents, earning the entire sect's praises and adoration. But what if he lost? It was imaginable that everyone would be exceptionally disappointed and could possibly push the responsibility of defeat of this battle onto that last contender. Not many were able to take up this kind of pressure. The disciples below the stage clamored for a while and gradually quietened down, but still no one dared to step up the stage for the challenge. Although Murongde had already expected this, he was still anxious and upset. It's all his own fault for being cheated. Why did he agree to some weird condition that disciples under 20 could not take part in the competition? If Li Moying could take part in this, then what did he have to worry about? Right now, the judges who were elders from other sects and powerhouses also started to urge him impatiently. Sect Master Murong, will you please confirm the challenger, otherwise please admit defeat as soon as possible. According to the arena tournament regulations which had been certified from the start, the timing between two challenges cannot be more than 1 hour. Now that time is almost up. If there is still no one who steps up on stage within the time limit of 1 hour, then Fang Xiaoning would be considered as a win without a battle, emerging as the ultimate arena champion. There was a time limitation to the arena champions challenges, and this was a universal regulation in the entire Soaring Heavens continent. Otherwise, as long as the 3 battles are not completed and the losing party keeps on dragging endlessly, unwilling to send anyone up the stage, then wouldn't this competition never end infinitely? Murongde swept a glance at the hourglass which was used to keep time and realized that there was indeed less than a stick of incense left as his expression turned uglier. Are you all trash? We are Celestial Light sect, but no disciple dares to come on stage to do the challenge. Right below the stage, Celestial Light sect's direct disciples looked at each other in dismay as they revealed a bitter smile. It was an honor to challenge on stage, but at such a crucial timing, knowing that they would definitely lose, who dared to step up onto the stage to be that sinner? The sand slowly dripped to the bottom. Fang Xiaoning's face revealed a satisfied smile, knowing that his victory was near. Right when everyone entered a state of despondence, a clear voice was heard floating from the high platform. Sect Master Murong, if you don't mind, please allow me to go on stage to challenge Fang Xiaoning. When Murongde heard that someone was willing to go on the stage, his face first revealed a joyous expression, but when he turned around and saw the person who spoke, his expression instantly turned even uglier. Miss Bai, what do you mean? You want to go up the stage for the challenge? This sect master has to remind you that this arena tournament is of great importance and not for fun. It's not a place which you can casually make a joke out of. Huang Yueli got up from her seat as she said calmly, Sect Master Murong, I'm not joking. Of course I know what this arena tournament means, and I'm extremely serious as well. Although I'm not a direct disciple, but since no one else in Celestial Light sect is willing to take up the challenge, then why not let me give it a try? Murongde's brow creased tightly, as the corners of his lips started to twitch. You can also listen on. Has this lass gone mad? Did she think that this arena tournament was some fun thing, so she wanted to get on stage to have a try? What a joke! This was a competition with great importance, and the opponent whom she was going up against was in 6th stage realm. What did she think she was trying to do? In terms of armament refining, her ability was indeed powerful, but this was the arena tournament and not an armament refining competition. Surely she hadn't been spoiled rotten by Li Moying that she didn't know how high the skies were. Murong frowned as he resolutely rejected her. Miss Bai, stop joking around with this sect master. Do you know what ability that Fong Xiaoning on stage has? He is now in a state of maniacization and his ability is now at 6th stage realm's 7th level. He could use just one finger to crush you. Aren't you just a 4th stage realm practitioner? What are you going to use to compete with him? I appreciate your good intentions, but this sect master is thankful for it. But this is not an armament refining competition, so we will not trouble you to make a move. He was actually feeling rather frustrated. What timing was it now, and she still came out to create havoc? He simply couldn't endure it any further. If ordinary disciples jumped out like that, he would have used this as an excuse to severely berate them. But no matter what, Wang Yueli was Li Moying's pampered little fiancée and Murongde couldn't afford to offend her, not daring to treat her too fiercely, so he could only reject her in a considerably polite manner. However, Wang Yueli seemed as though she didn't understand his words and remained insistent on it. Sect Master Murong, I understand all that you're saying and you have your reservations, so I can understand it all. But since now there's no other choice, rather than letting Green Cloud Sect's people win without a battle, why not let me have a go at it? You won't suffer any losses, right? Murong's face immediately turned black. No way. Anyway, there's no need for any further discussion. No means no. Miss Bai, please sit down. What's called no loss? Hadn't she seen how vicious Fong Xiaoning was, that even Murong Fei almost ended up crippled by him? Huang Yueli was a genius armament master and was also one of the protected parties in Celestial Light Sect. If she didn't grow any eyes and took part in a competition which didn't fit her abilities, getting maimed for no good reason, that would be a major loss for the sect. Moreover speaking, if she was hurt that little bit, wouldn't Li Moying immediately throw a fit on the spot? Hong Yueli didn't listen to him. Not only did she not sit back at her seat, instead she directly got off the platform and walked towards the arena. Everyone, no matter if it was Celestial Light Sects or Green Cloud Sects or disciples from the other powerhouses, everyone's gazes were concentrated on her as everyone were dumbstruck. The gazes they gave seemed to be looking at a lunatic. The scene was silent for that short span of moment, and immediately following that, it seemed to have exploded as various agitated discussions started to ring. Heavens, am I seeing things correctly? The person who is going up the stage is a 4th stage realm practitioner. Can tell that she is still rather young and to be at 4th stage realm, surely she must be a talented practitioner which Celestial Light Sect nurtures greatly, right? But no matter how talented, she couldn't look for death in such a way. Did she really think that a 4th stage realm could win one who was at the 6th stage realm? What a joke. Hasn't she seen how Celestial Light Sect's eldest young Miss Terrible Loss? Who on earth is this? Celestial Light Sect secret weapon. The other powerhouses' practitioners were all dazed as well as they tried to find out more about Huang Yueli. But Celestial Light Sect's disciples were even more dazed than them. You're asking what's the status of this little beauty? She's really famous in our sect, she's our young sect master's fiancée. You can also listen on. Young sect master's fiancée. But, isn't young sect masterly together with your eldest young miss? The person who asked had a shocked look on his face. Those are all rumors only. Actually, young sect master and senior sister Murong are not engaged. Instead, Bai Ruoli is the one who is rumored to have been betrothed to him even before she was born. Moreover, she's the youngest certified armament master in South Sky region who's said to be an outstanding talent. Wait. You're saying she's an armament master? Why did an armament master get up on the arena? They really couldn't blame the other party for being so shocked, as armament masters always sung their own praises and would not put themselves in a risky position. Not to mention that most armament masters' battle powers were much lower than same-tiered armament masters. Even if their actual combat ability was not bad, they wouldn't take the risk to enter an arena tournament. Celestial Light Sect's disciples were all puzzled as well. Heavens knows what's going on. Could it be that on seeing that Celestial Light Sect is about to lose, she just dashed up the stage? But she's an armament master and she probably hadn't made a move against anyone before. Suddenly dashing up on stage at this juncture, and with such a huge disparity between Feng Xiaoning and her, she's simply looking for death. Didn't you say she's your young sect master's fiancé? Why didn't young sect master Li stop her? That's right, why didn't young sect master stop her? There were many who were puzzled by this, and many of them shot their gazes towards where Li Moying was seated, including Murongda. Li Moying ignored everyone's gazes and there were no emotions on his face at all. But his gaze had been chasing after Huang Yueli's back, not shifting away for even a second. To tell the truth, he wasn't feeling as peaceful as he looked on the surface. Huang Yueli was about to enter the arena, what's more to challenge an opponent whose ability was so much stronger than her. In the past, when Huang Yueli went up against other people, he seldom interfered because he knew his Leer's ability was extraordinary. Not only was she able to battle realms which were higher than hers, she also had various kinds of profound armaments to aid her, so there were very few people who could suppress her. But this time it wasn't the same. After Feng Xiaoning went into maniacization, his potential had already reached 6th stage realm 7th level. The comparison against Huang Yueli's current cultivation was a difference of 2 large realms. Even if Li Moying himself wanted to step over 2 large realms for a battle, it was extremely difficult and the chances of failure was exceptionally high. Of course, Feng Xiaoning was young after all, and in terms of actual combat experience, there was no way he was comparable to Huang Yueli, who had made a name for herself for many years. But when the disparity between their cultivation levels were very high, sometimes it's not enough to just depend on actual combat skills to make up for it. The instance when Huang Yueli just got up, Li Moying had a slight urge to pull her back and stop her. Heavens knew just how worried he was and how difficult it was for him to find his lost treasure back. So naturally he didn't hope that she would suffer any injuries. But in the end, he utilized all his self-restraint before he barely managed to control that urge. To the growing-up process of a practitioner, this kind of self-challenge experience was necessary. Huang Yueli's battle, regardless of victory or defeat, was of great advantage to her, so even if she suffered a slight injury, it was extremely worth it. Li Moying knew that his Leer wasn't those kind of tender and delicate young rich missy, and she would not be satisfied with just relying on a man. She was born with a strong practitioner's heart, and she looked forward to having an even stronger ability, breaking through the peak of the way of cultivation. So no matter how unwilling he was in his heart, he had no way but to let go of her hand, allowing her to do the things which she wanted to do. You can also listen on. But although he thought in that way, it was absolutely not possible for him to not feel worried. Li Moying's heart jumped right at the back of his throat, as his eyes were fixed anxiously on Huang Yueli. He had already prepared himself to rush up the stage to save her the minute Huang Yueli met with any life-threatening danger. But the degree of life-threatening danger was actually very hard to grasp. Huang Yueli went up the arena to seek a breakthrough for herself, and only under a life-threatening situation would she have the ability to break through. If he were to make a move abruptly, it might affect her. Because of this, before Huang Yueli went up on stage, she specially instructed him not to be too worried and to try not to interfere with her competition. Li Moying's face turned black as he was super unwilling to do so. Allowing you to go up the arena is already my bottom line, and you're asking me not to care about your life and death. Oh, how could you say that? What can happen to me? This is a match where many powerhouses are watching, so he won't dare to kill anyone here. But even if you're injured, my heart will ache. Can you think about this in my position? Huang Yueli heard that and smiled as she leaned in close to kiss him. Rest assured, even if I'm injured, I will recover easily. I know my own limits. Li Moying was bewitched for a moment by that soft sweet kiss, and by the time he regained his senses, Huang Yueli had already stood up and volunteered to enter the arena tournament. In this way, he couldn't go against his own fiancée, so there was no way he could interrupt her. Li Moying remembered that he had a lot of things that he hadn't told her, but that young lass was impervious to the situation as she already ran off, hence his mood wasn't very good at all. At this moment, Huang Yueli, who was standing in the arena, turned around and gave him a smile. Li Moying silently snorted as he pursed his lips, showing a doting expression mixed with arrogance. Seeing that Huang Yueli really stood on the stage, the judge was dumbfounded. This Miss Bai, are you certain that you want to challenge the current arena champion Fang Xiaoning? Huang Yueli nodded, I'm certain. But this, the judge stifled for a long time, your cultivation versus Master Fang's is so huge, the chances of your victory are very low. Furthermore, the possibility of suffering a serious injury is extremely high. Have you really thought it through? Originally, no matter who came up for the challenge, it was none of his business, because all he needed to do was to judge if anyone went against the regulations and to point out the ultimate winner. But for someone like Huang Yueli, whose ability was much lower than the arena champion went up to challenge, this was really something which he had met for the first time in his life. Plus the fact that she was such a slender and delicate young beauty, the judge was emotionally unwilling to bear it. Huang Yueli's eyes radiated with brilliance. I've already considered carefully. When we practitioners battle, there originally is a possibility of getting injured, so I'm already mentally prepared. Moreover, I haven't started competing against Master Fang, so how would you know that the chances of my victory are very low? When the practitioners there heard that, they went into a bustle. Since when was her chance of victory low? It was more like close to zero, all right. The judge had made it so reserved, but she actually climbed all over him. Almost everyone had this thinking in their minds. Murongda went totally hopeless as he laid limp on the seat, not wanting to say a single word. If this arena tournament's information was leaked out, the entire Celestial Light sect would probably become South Sky Region and West Sky Region's mutual joke. How could Li Moying let his fiancée do such willful things? You can also listen on. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.